Starting in the 1820s, you'll find the story of the Texas Revolution, woven piece by piece into one narrative. And to take us through the timeline, here's Museum Director Margaret Cook.
So to understand the Revolution, you have to understand kind of what came before that, right? Mexico has just won its independence from Spain. Everything is in turmoil. In the next 8 years, they would go through something like 4 different presidents. And if you look at the map, you can see how vast Mexico was. Main seat of government way down here in Mexico City. And the Texas state isn't just Texas, it's Texas and Coahuila, with its main governor down here in Saltillo.
A massive territory governed by a remote dictator. The match was set. And in the southwest corner, showing off a popped collar, more medals than you can count, and an obvious comb-over, the uncrowned monarch, elected president, Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna. And in the northeast, wearing buckskin that would make even Jeremiah Johnson jealous, the father of Texas, impresario impresivo, Stephen Fuller Austin. Tensions were high. So let's hit the Revolutionary Road with our first stop to Stephen F. Austin's booming colony west of modern-day Houston. Welcome to San Felipe de Austin. If you've never heard of it, well, I'm not surprised. There's not much to see of the original town. At the beginning of Texas, San Felipe was not only one of our largest cities, but also the unquestioned political, social, and economic center of Texas. Our first capital in every sense of the word. This is a recreation of our very first Capitol building. Kind of cool. You look at the Capitol we have in Austin now and compare it to this, you realize what humble roots Texas started from. To give you the backstory, in the early 1820s, Austin received permission from Mexico to bring the first official settlers to Texas. And so he recruited 300 families. The old 300, we call them today. And with the promise of free land and endless opportunity, he led them to the frontier, choosing this site on the Brazos River as his headquarters. Virtually every person we know from Texas history came through San Felipe at some point. Under Austin's leadership, San Felipe flourished, a bustling riverfront community. But frontier life was hard, and to make it worse, a distant Mexican government seemed more interested in controlling the new colony than leading it. Less than 50 years after the United States has just won its independence, Mexico's just won its independence. So all these seeds of independence are just stewing and sprouting.
Exactly. I think it's been in Texan DNA from the very beginning, because why do you start a new life? You might just be wanting new economic advantages based on the amount of land that you're being told is available, but you might be fleeing a murder charge, you might be fleeing a bad marriage, or like Moses Austin himself, you might be facing bankruptcy. So you set your sights on the next best thing. And that at this point in time becomes what we know today as Texas.
She just summarized many of the famous Texans we all know. They were not a perfect or proper bunch by any means. They had dark pasts and plantation economics, many bringing slaves with them to Texas. Different groups of settlers had tried to rebel multiple times, only to be quashed by Mexico's powerful military. But this time, these hot-blooded Texans were ready to make a revolution stick.